Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whenever you're watching, however you're watching, and whenever you're watching, it is the Bet Online Salute to Troy podcast. We got a full crew here, new face, and a new place behind enemy lines. A lot of our fans might recognize the name. My little bro, he's an Oregon Duck, so we brought him on for today's show because we're talking Oregon USC. This is the face behind all the comments. How you doing today, Kenny?
I'm good. Go Ducks.
His internet is freezing. He has a public school internet, so give him a pass. And then we have the man. He have the man himself, the CEO, the man David Portnoy could never live up to. The man, the myth, the legend, Ryan Dyrud. How are you doing, Ryan?
What's up, Coach? I am good. Excited about this game. Maybe we'll see a new look defense. Maybe we'll see 3 stops this game instead of just 2 from last game. I don't know, but yeah, excited to be here, chatting SC.
Got you. So let's jump right into things. Let's talk about the interview today. I know Thursday's a one-on-one Zoom interview, so let's get into our Stone Brewery coaches report. What happened today in today's Zoom interview?
Yeah, it was a quicker interview than the last few weeks. I was in the line to ask my question and unfortunately didn't get it in. But I think the notable things were Marshawn Lloyd is on track to play this Saturday. Had a good week of practice, back from his injury. So, whether that the offense didn't seem to miss him last week in terms of points and moving the ball, but hey, every little bit helps. So Marshawn Lloyd on track to play. And outside of that, I thought the only interesting, did you see, Al, the thing going around about Mason Cobb and Kenny? I don't know if you saw this either, but Mason Cobb and a few other players saying, hey, didn't watch the Washington film and just flushed it and moved on. Did you see that thing going around?
I did not see that. I hope that's not true.
So no, apparently the player wise, it is true. And so it was asked like, hey, what's coach, what's your thoughts on that? And he basically said, he's like, look, this is not something we do. Players are always, I'm paraphrasing, but basically players are always expected. We always watch tape. That's the only way you get better. This week was a little different since we moved on from Alex Grinch and have only 4 days to prepare. We thought it was worthwhile that all the coaches still watch the tape, but then we basically put together a game plan to just move forward. So whether people agree with that or not, I didn't think it was that bad considering, yes, they are literally changing things in such a short week going against Oregon. So we'll see if, but I just thought that was funny because that was definitely a big conversation on Twitter of some people saying it's not a big deal, former players saying it's a huge deal. A lot of SC guys jumped in the conversation like, no, this is terrible. You always watch the tape. And then I thought, though, it made sense to me. I'm curious your thought, but to me, all things considered, the change being made, looking to the future, I was like, okay, I understand. Maybe this one game, just like you only have 4 days to prepare and move on.
So regardless of changing the defense or not, you still have to watch the film, and you could work on things like technique. You could work on things like effort. You could look at things like how can we get better, right? You could also use this as a motivational tool. You know what I mean? Like, you guys got embarrassed. This is how we fix it. This is where we go from here. You could coach technique. Like, there's so many things you could coach, even if you're changing the defense. The next defensive coordinator that's going to come in, hopefully it's me, is going to watch the film from last season. It's not the fact that you're fixing the defense, right? It's the fact that you can still coach. It's still a coaching tool that you can use, and you can still fix errors. Like, I think they're moving on way too fast. Like, okay, you got rid of Alex Grinch. We're happy about that, but you still have a season to play. And this just goes into like every time you put Lincoln Riley in front of a microphone, he just blows it. Like, he says things that just don't make any sense. Like, his goal is media training for the off season. It doesn't matter how much you lose by. You're still in the middle of a season, and you still have a lot of stuff to fix week to week. You're supposed to get better week to week, and you get better by watching film. By not watching film is one of the craziest things that I've ever heard in my life. I get if it's the last game, it's the bowl game, the players don't watch film. I remember after bowl games, we didn't watch film. But, like, how do you coach technique? How do you coach effort? How do you coach how to get better if you don't watch it? You're flushing it. Like, man, this is twice in 1 week. He made a media blunder. Like, every time he gets in front of a mic, he just messes up. Like, that's crazy. Kenny, have you ever in the season, not at the end of the season, in the season, not watched a bowl game after a loss?
Just the game, you mean?
Yeah,
Watch the game?
like
No.
SC did not watch film on Washington this past
I've
week.
seen that Caleb Bullock said they're not watching the film, they're just moving on to the next week. But I mean, we never really got beat like that, so it might be just bury the tape and move on to next week.
I mean,
see, I totally get what you're saying, Al. I think why I don't have, if this was a normal occurrence, then that's a huge issue. But I think him saying, look, this has happened less. I could count in my entire coaching career less than on one hand where we flushed the tape. But this is one instance because we made a change at coordinator. We have such a short turnaround to play a great Oregon team. We played so bad that we didn't see worthwhile to rehash that. We wanted to just move forward. If that was a trend, it's terrible. For this 1 week, I give it a pass because I'm like, you know what? Yeah, I don't think you're going to get anything good out of that game because just do everything the opposite.
It might be a trend because you remember Utah ran that play and he said, "Oh, it's a once in a lifetime play. We never saw it before," and they ran it the week prior. Like, so that's what worries me about. Yeah, so yeah. Like, I don't know. Maybe it is a trend. Maybe it isn't a trend. But that's crazy. Is there anything else that happened on the report besides the film? Like, did they mention changing the defense? Did they mention like how the players are about the coaching change? Where do they go from here? I know there was a defensive coordinator question. We know he doesn't know yet, but just are they just general statement about the defensive change?
Yeah, just he went into kind of the decision to choose, Coach Nua and Odom as co-DCs and just thought that was gave you your coaches speak, that was the best path forward. And obviously when you make a change, I know we're not mid-season, but in season, you have to distribute work a lot because obviously you're taking a huge piece in a coordinator and now putting all those responsibilities. So instead of putting that on one person in season, that was better to put it on two and be able to distribute. And obviously other guys would pick up the slack elsewhere. The only other thing kind of interesting was, was asked about SC clearly in the Pac-12 and even going into the Big Ten, the biggest rival in recruiting for SC and SoCal is Oregon. I mean, it's been noted Oregon has taken a lot of SoCal kids, most notably your brother, Kenny, Long Beach Poly, decided to go to Oregon. And so that's kind of a conversation. So it was asked like, hey, how important is this game on the recruiting path? So he just kind of talked about that and said, look, we're not minimizing it. It's definitely important. You got to look big picture. It's hard to say comes down to one game, but definitely, kids watch this game and it's important when you're your own backyard and you want to go and put a good showing out. So that was kind of the gist of it was like 15 minutes long. So I think that was the gist. I got a few articles up on LAFBnetwork.com if anyone wants the full transcripts, so you can see everything that was said.
Good deal. I got you. Before we move on, I just want to let you guys know that Salute to Troy is brought to you by BetOnline. BetOnline is where you could go get all your up-to-date odds, stats, and wagers. If you want to start working on your Thanksgiving meal or your Christmas money, now's the time at BetOnline. Use promo code BELIEVE, that's BLEAV. You get a 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. That's betonline.ag, BetOnline, where the game starts. So we're going in New DC to play Oregon. We're playing Oregon in Autzen. My career at SC, we never won in Oregon. And when I say never won in Oregon, that's including Corvallis and Eugene. There was kind of like Oregon, like we never won in Oregon, right? Kenny, have you guys ever when you were in Oregon, did you ever beat SC? I mean, lose to SC.
Yeah, once. We lost to them once.
They lost to SC once. So Oregon has been, I will say this, the state of Oregon in general has been kind of a kryptonite to USC. I don't know what it is about the state and the schools when they play them, but so they're coming in, one loss to Washington. Oregon might be top to bottom the best team in the Pac-12 roster-wise, right? And if you look at Jamal's points, right, Jamal always goes over his points. If you're able to have a good quarterback, run the ball, be able to run the ball on third and short, and be able to get to the passer, you're going to have an issue. Oregon checks all those. Well, hold on. Oregon checks 2 of the 3 boxes, right? So they can run the ball, right? Bucky Irvin, excellent running back, no doubt. They could get to the passer. Bo Nix is the one question mark that I do have, right? I don't think Bo Nix is a gamer. And when I say a gamer, I don't think he can show up when it matters. And that's been his kryptonite the whole season, right? Playing well. He's playing well. I'm not going to take that from him. And a lot of people blame the Washington loss on Dan Lanning. But when you look at all of Bo Nix's big games, he has more losses than wins, right? And if you count Washington, he lost against Washington. So I don't think big quarterback play will be an issue. I do think an issue is going to be they might have the ability to run the ball down SC's throat. We don't know what scheme they're going to come with, but Becky Irvin's really good at running the ball. Trez Washington, I believe his name is, very good receiver. So SC's defense has their hands full. Let's shoot to Kenny. Let's see what he has to say
I
about
think you meant Troy Franklin.
Troy Franklin. So who's Trez?
I'm not sure. It might be another one of the receivers that they have. But Bo Nix' first big game was against Oregon, and they beat Oregon.
Okay, he was at Auburn.
When he was at Auburn.
That was 13 years ago.
What his career.
Yeah, when Justin Herbert was still in college, right? That seems so long ago.
What do you always tell me? What has SC done lately? What have you done for me lately, Bo?
Yeah, like you said, Bucky Irvin and the run game it should be going. Only thing is we don't know what kind of defense you guys will be running, and once they adjust to that, I think it'll be going. It's not just your scheme. I don't think you guys have that very good players on defense. Also, I try to tell you that all the time, but I think that's the bigger issue there. But we should be able to run and pass the ball whenever we want to, and then on defense, it'd probably be a struggle early to stop Caleb, and then eventually they'll start getting to him. He holds the ball too long, and I was watching something the other day from the All-22. The offense isn't very sound. They run some weird plays over there on SC with Lincoln Riley.
Like what? Give me an example.
There's a few plays there where the receivers are blocking, they're running screens. Caleb is holding the ball. He takes sacks. There was a running back screen. The running back is blocking on a running back screen, and receivers are just running in circles, not really running routes. There's some weird stuff that Lincoln Riley runs.
Do you think, Ryan? Do you think I'll ask this question off to piggyback off that one? Do you think that's because Caleb scrambles a lot often and they're just playing scramble drill, or do you think it's kind of shaky on Lincoln Riley's offense?
I mean, I would say it's more the former. I think where Lincoln Riley, I think this year, in my opinion, hasn't been great in play design. Is he's play calling has been too long developing, and with the offensive line as playing as shaky as it has this year, just not having the continuity they've had, is you've had these long developing plays. Then once Caleb Williams starts escaping the pocket or running, then everyone just ditches what their route was or whatever. And like Kenny says, starts just kind of freelancing out there and dancing around and trying to find an open space, which they haven't been able to do a ton. So I think there needs to be more just conviction in whatever the route tree is or whatever the play call is. And just, whether it's a two-step dig, two-step drag, whatever it may be, instead of having these plays that take 8 seconds to get to their destination. So I think that's probably what we're seeing in some of the weird looking stuff, just because it's taking too long to actually get to the end of the execution.
If Jamal was here right now, he would say, Ryan, if you take a look at it, SC's offensive line from last year has regressed, right? Like, because, and then maybe he might have a point, receiver separation. Jordan Addison was running a lot of bang eights, which is basically a post, right? And that's actually what he's doing right now with the Vikings. You catch Jordan Addison in the middle of the field wide open, and it worked out. I think the offensive line is going to be an issue. So me looking at Oregon's film, which kind of worries me a little bit, they disguise a lot. They never show what they're actually running. You know what I mean? So they'll show 9 men standing up and they'll drop 8. They'll show a 6-man box, but they're really playing a 7-man box because the dude comes and rolls down late. Like, they disguise a lot with Dan Lanning's defense. And I think Caleb's going to have some issues with that because the air raid is off a pre-snap read, right? So whatever they get pre-snap is what they're going to do. But what Oregon shows pre-snap is not what they're going to do post-snap. And I think that's where Caleb is going to have a little bit of issues. And I think that's where Lincoln's going to have some issues too, because like air raid guys get set in their ways and they don't adjust very well. They just run what they're going to run, if that makes sense. You guys know what I mean? You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
Do you see that, Kenny, with Oregon's defense?
Yeah, I see that there, but I think Caleb will be successful early against them. Oregon usually it takes them a while to get going on defense, especially the pass rush. Like Cam Ward, he had all day early, and then eventually we started to get to him. So it's like we wear the offensive line down, and then we start getting sacks later.
Except for that Colorado game, they got after it quick in that Colorado game.
They got a high school offensive line over there. So.
Yeah.
If that's the case, then we should just put up. If we just get out on them quick, then we might have a chance.
Yeah.
The only advantage we do have, and I do want to say this, the only advantage we do have is that we play on Pac-12 after dark. And I don't care what anybody says.
Yep.
Some crazy stuff happens on. I've seen a lot of crazy things happen on Pac-12 after dark. A lot of crazy things. I think that's one advantage we do have because for some reason, that game on Pac-12 after dark, you see top teams go down. You see random upsets. A lot of wins, that I've seen on Pac-12. Washington State has a lot of success on Pac-12 after dark. For some reason, like you get on that Pac-12 after dark, they have a lot of success.
But I'm kind of like, I hate Pac-12 after dark, but at the same time, I'm kind of sad. This is the last SC Pac-12 after dark game ever.
SC rarely plays Pac-12 after dark, though. They're
rare. Yeah,
they don't have any more. They haven't. They already got the rest of their schedule out.
The UCLA game won't
play UCLA after this.
A 4:30 game, probably.
Yeah, it's a midday game.
It's usually a day game. Yeah.
Yeah. So the way they set up their schedule was, and this was stupid. When I think about it, they set up their schedule to have a bye before the Pac-12 championship. So they went through this gauntlet, and then they thought they were going to have a bye for the Pac-12 championship, and I don't think that worked very well. You know what I mean? Like now it's like I don't
think a bye in the middle would have helped him either way. So I don't think it mattered much. But yes, I hear what you're saying naturally.
But I mean, at least get players healthy, because now they're going through injuries and things like that. Like they don't have a chance to get players healthy. So, and sometimes a bye does. You come back, you do feel kind of good. You're a little out of shape, but you're like, it's like a midday nap, right? On Sunday when you take your nap on the couch and wake up, and the second half of the late afternoon games, you're like, oh, okay, time to catch up. You know what I mean? So, I think a bye would have helped.
Crack another beer, good to go.
So let me ask you this, Kenny, since you're behind enemy lines, and we're going to ask you a SC question. What worries you as far as being an Oregon Duck? What worries you from SC besides Caleb Williams?
Brendan Rice. I mean, that's off of Caleb Williams, but Brendan Rice is pretty good. He's usually the guy he goes to when he does those scrambles, and 16 is good as well. He
Washington. Washington.
Okay, yeah, those two receivers are pretty good. I mean, he can scramble around. He's faster than probably everybody in Oregon's front line and linebacker, so he can get away from anybody and throw it deep to Jerry Rice Jr. out there or Washington. But, yeah, that's the only thing that worries us. But as far as the defense you guys have, that's what makes everything okay.
So you have no word about Marshawn Lloyd or anything like that?
No, we're pretty good against the run. And like you said, your offensive line is kind of suspect. That's one thing that we can't stop is you guys from running the ball. Unless Caleb scrambles.
And so I'm going to flip it to you, Ryan, so we can get this on radio. What worries you about Oregon with SC coming in this weekend?
Just about everything. I mean, I think defensive, when we look at this USC's offense against Oregon's defense, I think it's a really good matchup. Like if USC had a competent defense, I'd be like, this would be a really good matchup overall. Because I think the USC offense has some good pieces that can do things. Oregon has a good, like Kenny said, I think a good, rush defense that can slow down. But I think SC would be able to at least do something or at least move the ball somewhat successfully. And then they can kind of stretch and do the big play at some point. But because of what SC is on defense, unless there's some miraculous change over 4 days with the new DCs in town, I don't know how much slowing down they're going to do of Oregon's offense. I think the one saving grace maybe is that Oregon's more balanced and they're not as high paced So it'll just slow the game down. So they'll maybe they may only score 34 points just because they're doing 6-7 minute drives instead of like the 2-minute drives we saw Washington do.
Yeah.
And I think that'll hurt you guys also, right? Because they're going to keep the offense off the field.
Yeah. Yeah. So the one thing I am worried about is that Lincoln Riley doesn't know what he's walking to at Autzen Stadium. Autzen gets loud, and it's one of the few stadiums that's on you. And another thing that I'm worried about is that Lincoln Riley is going to do like he did with Washington and try to play the score game. Don't play the score game. Control the game. Like, if anything, this is the week where you just need to control your game, right? Just keep control. You don't have to score fast. If you take,
why don't they try to do that with that defense?
I don't know. We'll continue that talk. I want to let everybody know in the Mightier 1090. Thank you for joining. If you want to take care of your digestive health, go to drinkag1 / Detroit. You get 5 free travel packs to get a supply of vitamin D. And if you want to get into fantasy football, go to underdogfantasy.com or on any app, Google Play or the App Store on Apple, and download Underdog Fantasy. You get to pick 2 to 4 players and make your picks and win some cash. And we will match up to $500. Use USC LAFB. Continuing that, Kenny. So that's a good question, right? So when we did the pregame against Washington, I was like, look, don't get into a scoring battle with Washington. At one point of the game, control the game, right? Try to control the game. Don't score quick. Just control the game. They have the ability to control the game. There was one drive where they should have ran the ball a little bit more because it's times where SC can't actually run the ball, and they run the ball successfully. And then all of a sudden, he just starts flinging it around the yard. So the answer to your question is I don't know. Do they have the ability to do it? 100%, because they do establish run games at time. Utah, they established a run game. Washington last week, they actually ran the ball pretty well, and then they just stopped. I don't know. That's a question that you might be answering. Well, even Chip ran the ball when you guys were at Oregon. You know what I mean? I don't understand why he doesn't do that. But this is a week for sure where Lincoln Riley has to be able to control the game. He can't go score for score because the defense can't hold up, right? So if he gets a drive where it takes 7 minutes, so be it. If he gets a drive that takes 8 minutes, so be it. He needs an NFL drive where he starts at the 25 and goes to full 85 and scores a touchdown. He can't settle for 3 this week. So it's going to be times where he might have to go for it on 4th down, because settling for 3 can end up losing you the game. You know what I mean? This is a week where he settles for 3 and it end up being 7. You guys get what I'm saying? You know what I mean, Ryan?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's every week. I don't think this week is any different. But this week obviously is more juxtaposed because of how good Oregon is. But yeah, I think it's a great point, because on the other side, Oregon's going to really control the clock, and that's their name of the game, and be methodical and kind of wear you to sleep where they can get the big play, but they're much more balanced in that sense. So you don't want to go tit for tat like it was last week, where it was Washington scores in a minute 30, then SC scores in 45 seconds, then Washington scores in a minute 15, then SC score. You want to be methodical, go down the field, and especially if we get one of those, call it lucky, call it timely, call it whatever you want, where Oregon drives down the field, takes 6-7 minutes, and then maybe commits a turnover. Well, then SC needs to do the same thing and go methodical and not just score quickly and give it right back to them where they can take all the momentum back. So, yeah, it's going to be a huge part of this game, I think, controlling the clock.
I will tell you this. The defense has become that opportunistic defense that they were last year. You know what I mean? At least we're starting to see that a little bit. They're creating turnovers. They're getting plays where we need them to get a big play as far as turnover-wise. And so the thing is, Oregon doesn't turn the ball over that much, right?
I think they have 2 or 3.
So, Oregon doesn't – here's the problem. Oregon doesn't turn the ball over that much, and their offensive line is pretty good. I'm not going to take anything from their offensive line. So how do you get pressure on Bo Nix to get him flustered? Because I'm not sold on Bo Nix, right? And then when you really look around, draft stock wise, Bo Nix isn't a top 10 quarterback. He's a 3rd round guy you save money on. If he makes it, more power to you, but I'm not going to give him 1st round money. The question
you see those guys mocking Bo Nix to the Rams at 6th?
Really? Yeah, I saw that.
No thanks.
But
no,
How do you get pressure on Bo Nix to make Bo Nix flustered? Because Bo Nix flustered creates turnovers, but Oregon's not turning the ball over right now. You know what I mean? So you either need listen. This is old school right here. 4 stops, right, or a turnover. You know what I mean? How do you get to those 4 stops? You know what I mean? So,
yeah.
Kenny, can you see Oregon? Can you see SC stopping Oregon 4 times? They just need 4 stops.
4? No, I don't see him stopping anybody 4 times.
That was a loaded question.
Think they stopped Arizona 4 times, did they?
Maybe just 4.
That got 4.
Yeah.
The fourth one was in overtime. And Ryan, Arizona's ranked 23.
Yeah, Arizona's a good football team.
I told you they're gonna make it to 25.
Oh yeah. Here's what I'm curious, Al, and one of the biggest frustrations on defense, I mean, everything has been, but one of the biggest that we've talked a lot, fans talk a lot, is personnel usage, specifically within the linebacker room. So I'm really curious now if we'll see if that was purely a Grinch decision, if that was, I mean, Odom does the inside backers. He's the inside backer coach. So whether that was him and his position group's decision, because I wonder if we'll see, like, we all agree it should be Mason Cobb and Eric Gentry 90% of the time. And when they need blows, sure, throw Tackett Curtis in there, show Rayshawn Davis in there, throw Shane Lean in there. But the 2 main guys that it should be is Cobb and Gentry. So I'm curious this week if we'll see that, or if we'll still see this big rotation continually, or if that was purely a Grinch thing.
So I never understood that. And to explain it to Kenny, they rotated their linebackers like receivers. So like they had like different linebackers in every series. You know what I mean? Or like they rotated them like defense. The linebackers rotated more than the D line. So you know how
we did that. We did that at Oregon too.
With the linebackers too?
With everybody.
Well, I guess it's the Oregon. I mean, but it worked with Oregon, I guess. It's not working. So
I get it too. Sorry to cut you off. Like, I get it to an extent, but what's hard with the SC backers is, like, it's so obvious that Shane Lee is like a run stopping backer. Like, it's so obvious. Like, he's really good against the run. He's not good against the pass. So like, it's so hinges you if like as an offense that maybe watches film, like they know if Shane Lee's out there, we're throwing the football. Yeah. We're throwing the football. And then like Eric Gentry, who overall I think is good enough to be starting, as I just said, but he is much better against the pass than he is lining up at the line of scrimmage against the run. So it's like they've almost pigeonholed themselves based on just who they have, that the offense can just be like, okay, based on who you're packaging, we can do kind of whatever we want because we know what their strengths are.
Yeah, and so it's fixable because then that's when you start playing with them in second and medium, right? You put Shane Lee in or you put Gentry in. You know what I'm saying? Because Gentry could play in the run, right? Because Mason Cobb's more the mic. The problem is you're taking Mason Cobb off the field, you know, or you're putting Mason Cobb and Shane Lee in. You have no success in the past, right? And I'm not Gentry should start. Gentry and Mason Cobb should be the starter. I think it's just because they're not in the box either. You know what I mean? You remember that picture I sent you? And I was like, I'm so happy this is over. Like, they're not really playing in the box. So they're not being put in the best situation possible. I think they need to be put in a best situation possible. And hopefully they change it up a little bit. And you could fix the front. You could change the front on the fly. And, like, you have this responsibility. You have this responsibility. You could change the front on the fly. I just don't know if, like you said, if it's a Barry Odom thing or if it's an Alex Grinch thing. The rotation was too often.
Did they do that with Lincoln Riley's other teams, or is it a Lincoln Riley thing?
That's what we don't know. We have to go back and look at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
good question. Because I know, so Odom was with Riley in Oklahoma as well, and Odom was responsible for Kenneth Murray being a first-round pick as a backer, who I think was obviously didn't like rotate out all the time. But I don't know the full grasp of how often they did it. They didn't do it as much last year, though, Coach. I don't think, right?
Yeah, they didn't have rotating as much last year. They didn't have the depth last year either, though.
Yeah, they did not have the depth. Yeah, I mean, it was basically rolling. It was Goforth and Shane Lee, and then Gentry would come in on like pass plays. That was basically it last year.
So that is actually a good question. Is it an Oklahoma thing or is it a Alex Grinch thing? That's actually a really good question. We should look into that. Mm-hmm. I wish we had like stat guys so we could look into that. That's actually a good question. I never really paid attention to that. But the rotation needs to stop. For a blow, I get it, but it needs to stop. So, like, Kenny, you said you guys did at Oregon. You guys had the depth. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but there was more of a chip started that. Bellotti would leave people out there for 100 plays.
but they recruited to the depth. SC doesn't have the depth. Like, I use this example, what was it, on Sunday or maybe Monday? If Bear Alexander gets hurt, then they have nobody else. You know what I mean? Like, there's nobody behind Bear Alexander.
Yeah, I mean, we saw it against Cal in the first half because Bear had to miss it because of the targeting. And I mean, Jade Knott had 160 yards in the first half running because there's no Bear Alexander.
Yeah, so like if Bear gets hurt, you get what I'm saying? So if you have the depth to do it, I agree, but they don't have that depth to do it. Hopefully they are recruiting the depth to do it. And so I don't know what's going on in the recruiting scene, but hopefully they are recruiting that depth to do it. That's how that really works. I don't know. Yeah. So let's move on. I mean, you think we can wrap this up, or you got some more? You got anything else, Ryan?
Let's do predictions, and then I'd love to ask Kenny a couple questions, just not even related to this game, that we can end with.
All right,
just
good
more
deal.
Like general questions. But yeah, let's end with predictions, and we can end with some general stuff.
I already know. I that's where I was going with predictions. So I'm gonna go with you first, Ryan, because we're gonna get an outrageous prediction from Kenny. So
I won't be that crazy.
Give me your prediction for Saturday.
You know, there's something weird that I want to pick SC. Something about like when a coach gets fired, right? Like the guys kind of rally, and there's like this weird like juice in the building or whatever. Even you never want to see a guy lose their job, even if he wasn't doing his job well. It's still like, you know, he's a part of your family. But there's this weird, like, you know, everyone just kind of rides to the occasion, and I have a weird feeling that the SC defense is going to play better. All that being said, though, I don't think it's going to be good enough. And this Oregon team is one of the best in the country, and you don't see a defense that literally could not stop a high school offense if they wanted to last week to all of a sudden, you know, slowing down or stopping Oregon. It'd be amazing if we did. I just can't get there yet. I think it'll be closer than maybe what people think. What's the line you said, Kenny? 15?
15, yep.
15. I think SC will keep it closer. Maybe they give up a garbage time score to make it farther, but I'll go 34-27. And I think, again, 34, because like what we talked about earlier, it's just long sustained drives that just won't be as much time to score as much. Okay. 34-27 Oregon. I don't know if I said that. First time picking against SC this year. Had to do it.
What do you got, Kenny?
Like he said, the defense, I don't think they'll come out like he thinks they will. It's still the same players. They can't really switch the scheme too much. It might affect Oregon early because we don't really know what they're going to run. But then I think the coaches make adjustments and we'll overcome all of that. We'll just run the ball down you guys' throat for about 300. So I think it'll be 45-24 Oregon.
45. Let me ask you this, Kenny. Who's someone on Oregon's offense that's done nothing this year? Because that's the guy that's going to break out.
That's the guy. That's
maybe the backup.
Give me a name that's done nothing.
The tight end.
Let me see who he is. Number 20.
The tight end. Okay. The tight end's going to get loose on us.
So I'm putting all my money on number 20 to have an MVP type game. Okay.
So
Jordan James.
Jordan James. There we go.
Yeah. So I will say this: it's Pac-12 after dark. A lot of freaky things happen on Pac-12 after dark. Good teams win, great teams cover. But SC's not a great team. They do cover. I'd see a lot of points in this, though. I do see a lot of points. But the fact is, it's Riley's first time. Odds kind of scares me because every time he goes into a new Pac-12 stadium, he always says, it's louder than we expected it to be, right? So that's the thing that scares me. But I don't see 15 points. I'm going to go 56-42. No, that's more than 15. Yeah.
No, that's 14.
That's 14.
Just cover.
Yeah, 56-42. That's almost 100 points up there.
They had 100 last week. They had 40 in the first half. I will tell you this, Ryan. I'm going to tell you this. I don't care. That's going to be on the podcast. So our mom is subscribed to the show, and are honest subscribe to the show. So once she sees this show, I guarantee you we're going to get a text tomorrow. Guarantee you from both of them.
What was I going to say? You said Lincoln Riley's not used to noise. Doesn't Nebraska get pretty loud? And
no,
they didn't play Nebraska, right?
It's the Big Ten. It's the Pac-12. So he went to Reeser last year, and he didn't know how loud they got in Reeser. And then they went to Utah. He was like, we didn't expect the fans to be like this. Like, that was his excuse all last year. Like, we weren't prepared for the fans. And you remember that, Ryan? Like, when the Oregon State came down to like a touchdown, it was like, oh, we didn't expect it to be that loud. When they played in Tempe, they were like, oh, there was a lot more student body than we expected. Like, people don't understand how great the Pac-12 are.
Yeah, it's your typical West Coast bias. Like, anyone that's not out here thinks it's less. I mean, he played in great venues. He played against Texas, played against Oklahoma State. It wasn't like he didn't play it loud, but no one gives credit to the Pac-12. And yeah, exactly. But no one gives credit to the Pac-12. So you get out and you're like, oh crap! Like, yeah, these are some legit home field advantages.
Yeah. Just think if he would have been in Seattle and that echo would have came off the lake.
Yeah, Seattle gets pretty loud too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think everybody.
Even Washington State.
Yeah, Washington State gets loud. Everybody gets loud. Everybody gets loud except two schools.
USC.
No,
UCLA.
UCLA gets loud. Well, not now because UCLA is not getting fans, but UCLA used to get fans, so they used to get loud in the Rose Bowl. Cal and Stanford.
Yeah.
Everybody else, they get it wrong.
Cal was decently loud 2 weeks ago, though, just because they wanted to beat SC so bad.
They did. They wanted that. They got it gets that Cal could get loud when they need to. They were ready for the field rush. They were ready to rush the field.
Oh yeah. So, no, okay. So we all have Oregon winning. Hopefully it's an entertaining game. I think a lot of fans at this point of the year are just happy Grinch is gone, so they can it's almost like fans are relieved they can just watch this game, not even expecting much. Just be like, okay, like we got rid of the big problem. Plan for next year. Let's see how we compete. See if we have some fun. So hopefully the Trojans at least come out and look competitive. So, Kenny, I want to just ask you though, like, I've been to Eugene. I've been to Oregon's campus. I went up to the Winter Olympics in Vancouver in 2019, and we stopped in Eugene on the way just to like hang out and check out the campus. But I haven't been there for a game. So for anyone listening, I'm just like, what's it like to be a Duck? What's it like in Eugene? Because obviously it's way different than being down here in LA and being a Trojan. I mean, it's a true college campus. Literally, Al, I got an email from their comms people about credentials. And basically the email said, if you're staying in the Eugene area, let us know what hotel you're at and we'll come bring your credentials to you. I'm like, that's not happening in LA. Like, they're not bringing your credentials to a hotel you're staying at. So that just shows that it's a small town.
Yeah, everything's about 10 to 15 minutes away. So you said, everything is pretty close together, which makes it cool. Like you said, it's a small college town. Everything runs. Oregon pretty much is the biggest employer out there. So everything is Oregon sports, Oregon football, University of Oregon is pretty much everything out there. And it's a smaller town, way different from here. And it's pretty cool when you go there. Right now, all the leaves are turning orange and yellow and green. I mean, different colors. So it's a way different feel than LA.
What was it like being like an LA kid going to Long Beach Poly and then going to this like small town? Was it like culture shock, or was it it was fine? You were having fun playing ball?
Yeah, it was fine. It's not really culture shock because you're with about 40 other people who are from LA as well. Like you said earlier, a lot of people from LA go up there. And then a lot of people from school also come from here in the Bay Area too. There's a huge population of the Bay Area that goes there.
That's true. I mean, there's just by sheer population, you got to recruit California. I think Oregon has like 4 million people total in the whole state. So you're kind of forced to go down to where the 33 million people are to recruit. Yeah. And then my last question, and Al, if you want to bring, but I was just curious, you played for Chip. He's obviously here in LA. USC this is looking too far ahead, but Victory Bell game's just next week. So I was curious what it's like playing for Chip Kelly. I know he's not known as a huge quote unquote players coach, but obviously an offensive guy. And just what was it like playing for him?
He's more of a players coach than people give him credit for. He changed a lot of stuff from Bellotti to him. He's more of a new school coach, players coach. Playing for Chip was a pretty cool, interesting like you said, he just deals with the offense. Every now and then he'll come talk to people on the defense, but it's pretty good. He revolutionized college football. Everybody runs the same offense now. They run an up-tempo offense. And then so it was a good experience playing for him.
Do you think he still should be at UCLA, or should UCLA move on?
We'll see. What they got a pretty good. Are they still ranked? Or are they not ranked after last
They're
week?
not ranked.
How many
Yeah,
losses
they
did I
fell
have?
out.
3 or 4?
3.
No,
Three,
yeah,
but
he
all
should still be
Pac-12
there. I
losses.
mean, I thought Dante Moore was going to be better. He was supposed to come to Oregon, but I thought he would be better. But yeah, no, they should keep him. I thought he should have went to Florida though when he had that opportunity.
I forgot about that. Yeah, that'd have been interesting.
I will say that I will say this about we'll cross over to the other side of town. I will say this about Chip and any UCLA fans listening. UCLA had to make a decision. They had to decide, are they going to be a basketball school or a football school? Financially, they had to make that decision. They went with the easier choice and they decided to become a basketball school. They've been in the Final Four or the Elite Eight the past 4 or 5 years. They have a great basketball program. The fact that UCLA is very competitive in football, and competitive is not 3 losses. You know, they might go 2 losses sometimes, but as long as Chip continues to get 10, 9, 8 wins and make a bowl game and they're fighting on the field and they're putting out a decent product, that is the best person there for your program. There's nobody else you could bring that's going to do better than what Chip did. People don't understand the obstacles that they have at UCLA. The special admits, basketball gets them. The financial woes that they have at UCLA. People, they just ignore that UCLA almost was bankrupt. They also forget that SC is kind of fronting some cash for them to go to the Big Ten. Like, there's a lot of things going on, and you guys want to get rid of the best person for your program. Like, that part I don't understand. Chip is the best guy for the job. You're not going to get anything better. So you could hot seat him all you want, but in reality, who are you going to bring in? National championship is not the goal for the program at UCLA. A competitive, good product on the field is the goal at UCLA. You know what I mean? So Chip is doing great. I don't have any.
Yeah.
I think the Chip is
I
doing
just
great.
checked their. They got 3 losses. They're 6-3. They play Arizona State this week, so they'll win that. Then they'll win next week against that other team, and then they play Cal their last game. So that's 9 wins.
Yeah, it was going to be a 9-win football program. So that's excellent.
Yeah, which would be, I think, is most.
We got one more special guest, Ryan,
and 10 if they get the
bowl
game. Yeah,
10, which would tie program most. Yo, about time.
So
what up?
I want to know Oregon plays USC this weekend. Who's going to win, Oregon or USC?
Oregon.
All right, go to bed.
No hesitation. No hesitation. So, well, I got my questions out, so we can wrap this thing up and see how our Trojans do.
Hey, so let's do this. Kenny, you available at 9 a.m. on Sunday?
Yeah, I'll be there. I can be available.
All right, you want to do Victory Sunday with us? It'll be if you want to.
Yeah,
Ryan, you good with it, or do you need to think about that?
No, I don't care. Do whatever you want. We can do whatever we want.
We'll have you back for Victory Bell Sunday. Hopefully it won't be too bad.
Hopefully it will be.
Here's the problem, Ryan. The problem is that I'll have to deal with it on Saturday, Victory Sunday, and then I have to deal with it again on Thanksgiving. So I might as well just get it all out now. So
get it all in
you
once.
can act like you fell asleep since it's a late game.
You said what?
You can act like you fell asleep since it's a late game.
That's true. Yeah. That's true. There you go. 7:30 start. Yeah.
I have a commitment to my fans.
Nice. You are committed.
Just do the old school, read the newspaper in the box score and talk about that.
There you go.
You can be like SC and just not watch the film. You're good.
Yeah, that's true too. Definitely. Kenny, I appreciate you, man. Ryan, I always appreciate you. Fans, we have reached a milestone on Salute to Troy podcast. A great milestone. You want to announce it, Ryan, or do you want me to do it?
No, you do it.
4,000 subscribers. We appreciate you guys 100%. We could not do this without you guys, and we say this all the time. We're on this for you, and you guys keep subscribing. We got to 4,000 to go to get to 5,000, 5,000 to 1,000,000. That's the whole goal. So we don't have to do it. We could be in the studio in the LAFB lounge, hanging out, doing this, giving you guys better quality. But it all starts with you guys. We start here first. We appreciate you. We thank you guys for the 4,000 subscribes. Now go tell 2 friends and tell those 2 friends to tell 2 friends, and keep subscribing. Keep making this. The more subscribers we get, the better we get for you guys. Thank you guys so much. We appreciate all the subscribes, all the comments, all the follows, all the likes. We couldn't do this without you. We really, really thank you guys. We really appreciate it. Kenny, Ryan, it's been great. We got a big one, Ryan. We got a big one in front of us. But as it goes, David did beat Goliath. So hopefully the Victory Sunday will be great. Once again, if you want to take care of your digestive health, go to AG1. That's drinkag1.com/Salute to Troy. You get 5 free travel packs of your supply of vitamin D. And if you want to do Underdog, go ahead, Ryan. You read it way better than me. Tell them about Underdog.
UnderdogFantasy.com or use Underdog Fantasy app on the App Store, Google Play. Use our promo code USCLAFB, all one word, USCLAFB. You get a match bonus up to $100. Play the pick'em, win some money, have some fun.
And kids, if you're out there in the recruiting, you listen to this. If you want to underachieve and want to wear pretty uniforms, go to Oregon. If you want to be a part of a great tradition and have a bunch of money when you grow up, go to SC.
And not play defense.
That's how it goes. Thank you guys. Hey, you know how it goes. Live free, fight on.